Hello everyone, welcome. If it's Wednesday, it must be Facebook Live at beadshop.com. I'm Kate Richburg and I'm going solo today. No Emily, no Janice, no special guest, just me and you, Brandon behind the camera. I know that Janice is moderating on the other side of the country. And on the other side of the world, we have our Gita commenting and moderating as beadshop.com. I'm just going to make sure that I can see our, there I am, I can see our video. I can see that there. I'm going to make sure I can get all of the comments up. I'm also going to do this on my phone to make sure I can see everybody here so I can see your wonderful comments and questions and things like that. It's great to have everybody here. Excellent. So we're ready. I'm stoked to share this really fun project with you guys. It's going to be a fun day today, I think. And just to let you guys know, if your broadcast, if things are a little glitchy, on my laptop I'm having trouble seeing comments, but you may, I think I know why, maybe. Let me see here. You know what? Nope, that's quiet mode on, quiet mode off. You know, it's really funny. The Facebook, it seems like it rolls out new functionality every week, so we try and keep up with everything. So if you jump out and jump back in, if you're having trouble seeing comments, you also may want to jump on your mobile device, maybe a little bit easier for you to see, but we'll just go with it and go with what we've got. It's great to see everybody. Thank you so much for joining me today. It's going to be a really, really fun broadcast with leather, large hole beads, all kinds of cool stuff that I'm going to share with you. A couple of bits of business before we get down to it. Just to mention, I know a lot of you are getting new viewers all the time, which is great. We love that. You can watch us right here on our Facebook page for beadshop.com every Wednesday at 10:30 Pacific time, 10:30 a.m., not p.m. You can also watch us on Fridays. I do a Free Tip Friday, kind of an abbreviated fun broadcast, a little more off the cuff on Fridays. You can see all of those broadcasts after the fact. We archive them on our website, beadshop.com, right here on our Facebook page, and on our YouTube channel, which is also, coincidentally, beadshop.com. You can go to YouTube and subscribe to our videos, and that's a great way to get a pop-up or a reminder that we've just posted something. That's a great way. I know a lot of you love to watch us on YouTube because you can blow us up real big and watch us on your TV, which is awesome. So I'm super life-size that way. Okay, so it looks like, yep, it looks like everybody's having sometimes a little bit of issues with comments. I see the comments, but Brandon, do you see the comments on your? I have no problem with the comments on the phone. On the phone, but I have not tried. Yeah, I can see it here on. I've got my laptop just right over here, and the comments. There's this new thing on the bottom that says quiet mode. Turn quiet mode on. Turn quiet mode off. I don't know. So we'll see. I'm gonna keep. We're just going to keep going with it. I'm going to look at all of your comments here on my mobile device. So, you know, there's always something fresh and new and exciting to deal with. It absolutely with Facebook, seems to be a laptop issue, maybe desktop issue. Yeah, yep. So let me see if we go to enlarge, maybe. Yeah, if you click it right in there, yep, I don't see any comments on my desktop. A few, but on my mobile I can see all of you guys with comments coming up, so you may want to switch to your mobile, and I'm sure they will all be there after the broadcast as well. iPad as well is tablet's working. Yeah. So we just go with what we go with, you guys. So I do see all of your comments right here. So so we're all good. Okay. Well, I will. Let's jump in and talk a little bit about this project. and a little bit about what we're going to accomplish today. You know, oh, Janice Kang, always quiet mode on phone is swipe right. Yep. So the, but I can't see Janice Kang on my desktop. If I can, let me see if I can activate anything. Yeah, I'm not seeing it. So, unfortunately, I think my desktop comments are not coming in. No, I don't want to use that. I want to do that. Let me hit settings. No, more video settings. Well, we're just going to go with it because we've got a project to get to, right, you guys? Right. There we go. Let me make that bigger. There we are. Yeah, for some reason. And I'm in Chrome, my Chrome browser, so I don't know, it could be your browser issue. There's so many things it could be. So, okay. So let's jump in. Oh, that's okay, Janice K. Thanks for checking. But we'll, I'm sure the desktop comments will return next week. Okay, so all of the project stuff we're going to use today, I have always been really enamored with our, let me move my little friend. I didn't have a sidekick today, so I thought I'd put our necklace on a little bust here so I'd have some kind of sidekick with me. You know, with Bead Shop, back when we were a brick and mortar store and now when we are online, we have always loved beads that have a tribal flair to them, whether they're beads, trade beads from Africa, like some of these guys here. These sandcast beads are made in Ghana. We also have a brand new bead that we've got, and when we turn the camera around, I'll show you a little bit about some of the other beads we're using. But these lampwork beads from Ghana, this was kind of the starting point for this piece. Karen and I were buying beads a couple of weeks ago, and we saw these little lampworks, and we decided to make some mixes. And so that was kind of the starting point for this necklace design. And I really wanted to share with you a kind of my take on using leather, because I've used leather in my designs almost since day one, and I love it. I know a lot of you out there are vegan and don't use leather cord. Some of the substitutions that you could put in, you could string this on a 0.8 millimeter Chinese knotting cord. That would work. Be slightly thinner, but I think it would still work. You could also use, of course, our brand new surfer cord that we have in 1 millimeter and 1.5 millimeter sizes. And that would also work for you as well, for those of you who aren't into using the leather cord. Okay, so so that's the basis of this piece. Then we've got some brand new, some fun new metal beads that we're going to be playing with, and I thought that they all played together really, really nicely in this design. We have on the recipe, we did a project page on beadshop.com. If you go to the website, the main page, Bead Shop, you click on Facebook Live, a little Facebook Live page will come up, and it'll be fun with tiara cast, I think, and leather or something like that. That'll come right up. And then you can click right over to the project, and the project has all 3 of the different flavors that I've done this in, as well as a recipe. And you guys, this, if any of the 3 colorways that I've made for you today don't really make your heart sing, don't sweat it. Just follow the recipe and choose your own colors, right? We have so much leather and so many tribal beads and so many colors and flavors of things for you to work with. So you can really, really put your own imprint on this piece. Okay? So let's go ahead, Brandwin, and move this camera around so you guys can see what I can see here. And yep, I can see your comments, you guys, no problem. So I'm using my mobile, so sorry about those comments, but keep on commenting, and we will answer, and I'm sure the comments will show up also on the replay. So don't hesitate to comment because I can see them here. All right, so, oh, hang on to that for 1 second.
Sure,
sorry,
no
Brandon. I want to go ahead and tighten this one up. I was too busy looking at everyone's comments. And of course, we always really appreciate it, you guys, when you pass the word along and share our video and share beadshop.com with your friends. We couldn't ask for a better recommendation. So thank you so much for that. Okay. So there we go. I can see, you guys can see my hands here. We're going to plug this in, and we're going to go ahead and I'm going to get this in here just a little bit so you guys can kind of see what I can see. I'm going to raise this up a little bit here, Brandwin, so we can get a pretty big view. That looks all right, right? Not too bad. There we go. And I'm going to tighten this down. And there we go. Straighten everything out a little bit. That doesn't look too bad. So if I'm working here, and you can zoom in on my hands, and you guys can see. So let's make it pretty big here, and you can take that iPad, and I'm good to go. All right, we are in business. Yes. Okay. So let me get this, our little sample. It's not so little. It's kind of a big fancy sample. There we go. And I've got my necklace here so you guys can see that. So it's a 3-strand. We've got a 3-strand necklace here, and as I said, we've got a mixture of the trade beads and the glass beads here. The base of this necklace, I've got 3 different colorways for you today. Okay, I have this blue, kind of blue-gray colorway that's called Thunder, and I use the 1.5 millimeter gray distress leather on that. And then I use the Chinese knotting cord, or what we call CKC for short, right? I use that in gray. Okay. Then I have the second colorway. It's kind of a green thing going on. I have the distress green leather, also 1.5, and the CKC in the sea green. Okay. And then, last but not least, I have the 1.5 millimeter violet distressed leather, along with the frosted lilac CKC. And the Chinese knotting cord is all 0.5 millimeter. If you wanted your closure to be a little smaller, you could use the 0.4, or if you wanted it to be a little heavier, you could use the 0.8, whatever works for you. Okay, so those are the 3 bases. Then the impetus, as I said earlier, for this design, one of the driving forces behind it, were these little lampwork beads from Ghana that we got from one of our African traders who comes by. And so Karen and I were out in the parking lot, and he pulls these out, and we both went, oh my gosh, they're beautiful. So we thought we would make 3 little mixes, and so this mix, the green mix, what's this one called?
It's the sky.
The sky. The sky is the blue. The green is the, I see it here.
Grassland.
Grassland, right here. And then Brandwin, your quiz is complete.
Sunrise.
Sunrise with the purple. Awesome. I have them here on my list, but I can't really see my list that well because it's too small. And I see a few of you are commenting that it's hard to see comments still. I'm sorry, it looks like it's a Facebook glitch today with laptop issues. So don't sweat it, you guys. Just sit back, relax, and enjoy it. I'm sure you'll be able to see the comments on your replay, or if you have your mobile device, your phone, you can jump over to Facebook that way. So sorry about that little glitch, but again, it just decides, sometimes Facebook decides to change things up, and today is one of those days, so no big deal. And Gita, it looks like you are posting as Gita and Bead Shop and maybe Grace Bead, I don't know, but thank you, Gita, for doing your best behind the scenes. We really appreciate it. So this is kind of the base for all of these pieces. So then what I did when I designed this, right, I really, really dig, like I said earlier, these are tribal beads, and these are what we call our currents beads. These are made a lot of times from recycled glass, and of course this is a sandcast bead. And if you've ever learned about how sandcast beads are made, they are actually powdered glass that are actually put in a sandcast mold and heated so the glass fuses together. It's a really very interesting and wonderful process. So those guys go with the blue, and this is the Thunder colorway. The green colorway is called Tropic Rain, and of course this purple colorway on the end here is called Whirlwind. So the purple, I used the pink Ashanti saucers along with a little mix of these two currants here, and then these green Ashanti saucers and a mix of the green and yellow currants, and then I've got the purple currants over here in this one. I've also, in the sample, you'll also see I have a few of the currants in black here, which would also work. So it just depends on what you like, what works for you. Then I went in and I added some of these sandcast pieces. You've seen Janice use these sandcast pieces in some of her, oops, those go, the black sandcast go with this one, with the Whirlwind. The brown sandcast go with the Thunder here. And then I used the orange. You know, we had a comment from one of our bead table members, or I don't know, maybe it was on a previous Facebook Live, but someone said, "You never use orange." And I said, "You're right, I never use orange." So I threw some orange in, just for fun, okay? Then I added, you guys, we have brand new things from TierraCast, which are just delish. This is that double Bali bead, and we have a Bali flag bead, which is here. And when I saw these, when we ordered these, this just screamed, I have to put it on a necklace. So you can see I've used it here in the design, and I think it adds a lot of great texture. You can see how I use the flag here too, right? So the flag just hangs out like that, right? And we can also see I've got in here this little coil spacer. Now this coil spacer, you guys, is a bead shop staple. I think, you know, Janice has probably been using these since she opened the bead shop in 1982, right? I have a stash of these that I've been using for years. I love them, love them, love them. We've got the coil spacer in this antique copper. That's what I used in this Whirlwind. I used, for this guy, the green, the Tropic Rain, I used a mixture of the gold, the copper, and the antique brass spacer, because it's all about mixing it up, right? And then this final one I did in all shades of silver, antique and shiny. So you can see this wealth of loveliness, this beautiful palette, 3 different palettes. But I could, you know, they go so well together, you could mix things up. I could take the pink and put it with the blue and move that around. I could even add a pop of orange to this palette. So it really just depends on what you, what works for you. And again, if you want to choose your own colors, the recipe is a great way to go. Okay, so again, you'll see all of these right on beadshop.com, right under the project, the Storm series. And I'll switch these back so I don't confuse anyone. And we've got Thunder, Tropic Rain, and Whirlwind. So there we go. I think I'm going to work with the green colorway today because I love green, and I don't know, why not, right? I haven't worked with anything green in a while, especially these orange sandcast, which I love. And let's jump in and get started on the project. Okay, so I'm going to get this, move this to the side, and let's get that show on the road. Thanks, Ben. Let me just move it here. Okay. So, I'm going to need this board. Thank you. Because we're going to start with the piece. We're going to start actually in the back. And I'm going to show you how, roll up my sleeves here, get down to work, right? I'm going to show you how I started this piece. So we're going to start the piece actually here on this side, and then we're going to work our way around, and then I finish it on that side there. Okay? So I wanted, there's been a lot of fun designs lately utilizing the macrame. You guys have been going crazy on our bead shop group, doing some really beautiful things with the macrame. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to jump into that macrame game as well. Okay, so I did. I jumped in, and I'm going to show you a really fun way to close this off. One of our customers, our bead table member, Allie Mori. Allie has a great trick for finishing up the ends of the macrame so there's no glue here. So I can't wait to share that with you. I think it's a little blown out, it's a little bright, maybe not, maybe it corrected itself. Okay, so let me get our 1.5 millimeter leather, okay, and we sell it in 4-yard segments, okay. So I'll be honest, I didn't really measure this, and I don't think I've measured it even yet. So let me tell you, I just know that it fits me. Okay, our bead table and customer, bead table member and customer Tammy Drennan was here the other day. She was helping us with a little bit of packaging. While Janice was here, she got Janice to measure her, which was so awesome, and it really showed her the right length for her. We have a great, I think it was on a Free Tip Friday, or we might have done it in Facebook Live maybe. I'll have Drea link it in episode notes, all about how to find your right measurement. It was great. We'll have to do it again because I think it was really fun to see people. And their measurements. It was cool. So this is about what I would say door to door. The longest strand is about 30 inches, okay, or so. And then I've graduated it up from there. You know, don't sweat the length, you guys, because as you create this piece, you're going to kind of try it on, figure out what works for you. This is the ultimate in don't sweat it jewelry, okay? You're just going to jump in, okay? So on this end, what we're going to do is we're going to start by cutting our leather. So it comes, as I said earlier, in a 4-yard segment. I'm going to need a little bit of extra at the end because at both of the ends, one strand is going to need a little bit of extra because the way that this is constructed is I have one strand, this is one strand of leather that comes down and then goes through, okay, and then my other strands are crimped in this evolve here, okay. So we're going to make one strand a little longer than the other two, or just be real generous and right, and for knots, right, exactly. We're going to have a little bit extra for the knots as well. So what I do is I take my whole 4-yard piece. Does yours all get knotted like mine does? There we go. Okay, and I'm just going to come in. Come on, little knot. There we go. Let me get rid of our friend there. And let me just bring this into 3 equal lengths. Okay, and the way I do that, it's hard for you to see me do this off camera because I've been stretching that out, but you can see I've got this. I'll do this, and then I'll do this, I'll use my clampers to kind of do that. Then I can come in and I can see what my length might be here. Okay, so I have, if this were going to be my long necklace without any knots or anything, I'm going down to like 25 inches. So I've got a good extra 10 inches on each strand here. So that'll be plenty for me to work with. So if I take that 4-yard piece of leather and divide it into equal lengths, I'll be good to go. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to come in and I'm going to make this end. Okay, so I am going to I'll just choose an end, doesn't matter which one. And this piece, if you can kind of see how I will do this, I'm going to have this end, this little end, maybe a little bit more here. I'll come in, and when I use my, get my beads here, when I use my Evolve, which I'm going to do right now, I'm going to start by putting this Evolve on my leather, and as it comes through, I'm going to pull it up just a little bit, because when I'm going to come through after I've macrameed, I'm going to shove that little end right down through my Evolve, right? And it's hard to do that if I have this this little loop here, so I'm going to pull it up and then I'll cut the rest, I'll cut this away in a little bit, okay? But I've strung my Evolve on, and I'm going to get my leather here, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to clip it to my board. And you know, we're not going to clip this for very long on the leather, but I want to be careful not to mark my leather. So I'm going to put a little, like you can put a baggie, or a, I don't know if you have a little piece of like ultra suede or something like that. I can put it over, I actually need to have it go a little bit higher. I can put it over the leather so I don't mark it. Okay, you see that? Now, I'm going to pull this back down, and I just need to have everything kind of tight for my macrame length. Okay, so I'm going to do that same thing here. I'm going to get my little baggie, cover that end with the baggie to kind of keep it nice and safe so it doesn't get marked, and use my clamper. Okay, so this is the 1.5 millimeter distressed green that I've got going on. So I'm going to tighten this up, and so you can see now it's nice and tight, enough for me to macrame. And let's measure how much I need to macrame. I kind of eyeballed it a little bit when I did it the first time. It's about maybe an inch or so. You can see I made this loop pretty big. If you want your loop to be a little smaller, then you make it a little smaller, whatever. So we're just going to jump in and we'll do some macrame. The green that I've chosen for this is the sea green, 0.5 millimeter Chinese knotting cord. And I know that we're still having a few problems, you know, linking in during this live broadcast, which I know is kind of a bummer for everybody. But don't worry, you guys. This whole listing, if you go right to beadshop.com and you go to our Facebook Live project, this one's called Summer Series, and the colorway I'm working on is Tropic Rain. The blue is Thunder, and the purple is Whirlwind. All of the listings of everything we used is there. Okay, so don't sweat it. It's all there for you. You can also always email our customer service department. Drea is always ready to be there for you. so she can also help out there. So don't worry, if you don't see the links here, no biggie. Though Gita, I see your links coming through, and Janice, I see your links coming through as well. So, so great job. So you can see, while I was chitty-chatting, I cut about 2 feet of my Chinese knotting cord, or what we like to call CKC. Now, the macrame, you guys, is super easy, super fast, and it's so much fun that I feel like I never want to stop macrameing. So what I've done here is, you can see I've kind of equaled my thread out. I've gone over my leather and under my leather, and you can see that that loop forms a little P shape, or a Q rather, Q shape this way. We have a great skill builder on how to macrame, so you can kind of detail it there as well. But this just comes around. I go over my cord this way, under my leather, and out through my loop. Now this is where I want to kind of figure out where I want my first macrame stitch to start. So you can see here, I'm going to kind of push it up as much as I can. I need a little bit of extra, but if I'm going to be macrameing about 1 inch, I want some clearance. Okay, there we go. There we go. I'm going to put that down. So now, one of the tricks, or one of the little cool little tips about this macrame is I can, if I go away and I come back, and I'm not sure what side I stopped on, can you see that little, I don't know, scallop there on the side of where I tied my knot? If I see that little scallop, that's the side I know I need to make my loop on. So there's my P, this loop here. With my other thread, I come over the tail of the P, under the leather, and up and out through the loop and tighten. Okay, so there's my 1 full macrame knot. Now I'm going to macrame like crazy to get this going. And again, as I said, whoops, but I did that backwards already. There we go. Whoops. Hey, get back on there. You saucy little thing. There we go. If you do need some more macrame guidance, go to our skill builders section on beadshop.com and you will find macrame basics. It is the basis for so many of our projects, you guys. We did it when Janice was here in our new prairie design. Not when Janice was here, we did the prairie before Janice was here, but we macrameed with the new Blue Moon setting the mood. We have a beautiful new piece that Drea has made that's going to be up. It's a new goddess bracelet design way that you guys are going to love. She incorporates a lot of macrame there. So even though Janice and I verbally banter about wire work and pearl knotting, which one is the backbone of jewelry making, I actually think, Janice, it's neither. I think for us, it's macrame, right, is the backbone of our jewelry designs. So, but it's really fun and fast and easy to do. And you can see that I am just building this length pretty quickly, going in real time, because I have 200 people watching me macrame right now. Okay, so there we go. Let's take a look at the length of that. And let's see. Again, with the comments, sorry about that. It seems to be a Facebook glitch today that everyone's having a few. If you're watching on your laptop, you're having a few comment glitches. But if you're on your mobile device, I can see all of your comments coming through. So I'm trying to answer questions as I see them. So thanks for your patience. I'm sure it will all be righted next week. Macrame is stringing. Well, it's true, Janice, but macrame is more of a, I don't know, it's more of a stitch. I don't know. It's, you know, there's so many ways to string, I guess. So you can see I've created about 1 inch of our macrame here. And you can see the leather was a little bent, but if I look at it here, since it was protected by the baggie, there's no little dents or anything in there, so I think it's perfectly fine. So I'm going to free it up, and let's go ahead, and I'm going to see how I still have these tails here, down here, okay? I'm going to use these. This is, I need these tails, okay? So I'm going to come in, I'm going to slide this, I've got my evolve on here, my copper evolve, what we call the evolve bead. And I'm going to slide my macrame closer, and I'm going to thread it through this evolve on one side and on the other. And I'm gonna bring it over to the other side here. Okay, and you'll see why in a second. All right. Now, I'm going to get this end, and I'm also going to bring it through. Okay, so you can kind of see what we have here. We've got the evolve bead. We've got the outside leather that has the macrame on it. It's coming around and going through the evolve on the outside. And then my second and third strand are here in the center. Okay, so I'm just going to pull this down to close the loop. Pull on my CKC to close any gaps there. Bring it up nice and tight. Pull this cord all the way down. But you know what I've forgotten? I was so excited to get this loop done. I forgot to add my hammered loop. That's no good. Let me take it out. And I gave myself a mental note. Don't forget it. But I forgot it. Let's pull that back in. I macrameed about 1 inch of this, and it just depends on how big you want this loop to be, right? That's all. That's all you need to do. So can you see now? There we go. Look at that's going to be my closure, or my connector to the rest of my closure. And can you see on the one that I made here, it's a little bit bigger. I don't know, maybe it's too big. I don't know. Maybe it's not. Whatever. Just do what works for you. You do you. Okay? Whatever. So let me kind of make this all nice and even here. Now I'm going to come in and I'm going to crimp this evolve down nice and tight. Okay? But before I do that, I want to make sure that my CKC, my Chinese knotting cord, is on the outside here, right? And I'll come in and I'm going to flatten this center. So I'm going to get my my plier. Oh, Meredith is here from Beadalon. Hi, Meredith. I'm going to be using our beloved Beadalon needles here in just a few. Beloved, right? So thank you so much. We love it that you watch. I'm going to reboot here the feed on my laptop. Yep, laptop's feeds are totally glitchy today, you guys, so sorry about that. But it looks like the mobile device feed is doing just fine. But you can always watch it on the replay. See, it looks like it's reloading here. Maybe. Alrighty. So now you can see I've just crimped this evolve down, just like we do in Tahoe, whatever, right? Our Tahoe project. And now I'm going to go ahead and kind of neaten everything up before I go any further. Okay? And I'm going to come in and clip this away. Francesca asks, is there a standard size for loops that we should keep in the back of our minds? I don't know. Francesca, you do you, okay? You make this the length that you like it. This one, as I said, was about 1 inch of macrame, so it makes a little bit of a smaller one. The other one was probably an inch and a half. Hi, Julie B. Julie B is in the house. Thanks for watching. It's always nice to see you on the other side in the viewer section. So can you see there how I clipped that guy off? Looks like my laptop just reset itself, and now I can see comments there too. We'll see how long I get laptop comments, but you never know what's going to happen. Now you can see there's my evolve, and see there's the little end that I've looped around and I've come through. This little end I'm going to get rid of because I don't need it. Okay, and I'm not going to do it maybe right up against, maybe I'll leave myself just a little bit of space. And there isn't, Lori, there's no glue necessary for this, because can you see how I just came in with my flat nose plier and I just crimped it nicely and evenly, carefully, not too much of a heavy hand, but it's in there. Nothing's going anywhere. So now what I'll do is, whoops, my leather is caught up in my little bracelet there. I'm going to use just a little scrap piece of CKC to try to kind of hold this down nice and tight. So I'm going to clip this to the edge of my board. I'm going to clip this nice and flat here. And see how I'm lining up all of my leather? Cover it again with my little baggie and give it a clip. If you want to lift, get yourself a little more room, I could slip my little Chinese knotting cord spool underneath to kind of give me a lift there. But now I've got these ends, and let me show you where we are. Okay, so you can see I've done this portion, I've crimped. Now we're going to do this part here. Okay, to pull that loop in the middle. So good question, Spidey. I was having trouble getting that with the width of the loop. The question was, can't I just pull this loop down underneath the evolve instead of clipping it away? That loop was taking up too much room in the evolve, so I had to pull the leather up to create more room underneath the bead. Then I was able to put this leather through. Then I was able to crimp it. I could probably play around with it a little more and kind of try and pull it to the side and stuff, but for the ease of camera work and for me with all of your eyes on me, it was just easier for me to do it that way. But you can certainly try that at home. Chris, I think that Chris is asking, would wax linen work for this? I don't see why not. You could certainly try and macrame this closed with wax linen. I think it would look cool. You just decide, you do what works for you. So can you see I'm placing my first macrame stitch right there, right under that evolve. And can you see how I left that little bit of a, tip of that leather for the one that I cut away, so I can just kind of cover it up as I am macrameing. Now the cool trick that we learned from Allie, I'm going to try and get that there. There we go. Maybe, you know what? Maybe I don't like that there. I can't cover it up as nicely as I want it to. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to cut it away flush. That's what happens when we experiment live, but that's also how you guys learn and how I learn. So let me get the CKC out of the way, get my cutter there, clip that flush. I think it'll look nicer. So let's go back. Let's get back there. Let's go ahead and macrame right under that evolve, and I'm going to go kind of quickly here. Now, Allie's tip, you guys are going to just love this. Love it. Here's my Beadalon, my collapsible eye needles, and this is the exact thing. You guys, if you haven't seen this, you're going to love it. I'm going to pull out my needle, and so I have somewhere to put it. I've made those few macrame stitches, and can you see how I'm just sliding my needle under the macrame stitch, and I'm just going to leave it there, okay? And I'm going to keep going macrameing with these little tails. So this, you guys can see, is all one CKC, right? I started it here, macrame, 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 sent both legs down through the evolve, and now I'm macrameing with both of these legs here. Okay? You with me? Is everybody with me? Let me hear some hearts or something. Come on now. Is everyone with me? Maybe. I don't know. I hope. I hope you're out there. No, I know you're out there. I can see you. So you can see macrameing over that needle. I see some hearts. Yes, I love it. Thank you. I see them. Yes. Hurrah. I could macrame this all day. Okay, I think looks awesome. Make this as long as you want to make it, or until you run out of CKC, right? You don't want to run out, but you can see here, I don't know, how long is this? I'll tell you. And Gita is asking, am I working on the back? It doesn't really matter. I think that the back or the front, it really doesn't have that much of a difference. But yeah, Gita, if I had to choose, this would probably be the back, but it's not really noticeably different. This is about, I don't know, a ½ inch-ish, okay? This is close to a ½ inch. Let me do one more, full one, okay? I'm getting down to the tail end. The length of Chinese knotting cord that I cut at the beginning was about 2 feet, so maybe I'd cut a little bit more, but this is fine, okay? So there we are, all right? I know, I love the thickness of this. I love the way this looks so nice and flat. I think it looks great. So now, can you see? Here's the eye of my collapsible needle. Look what I'm doing here. I'm putting the ends of my Chinese knotting cord through that collapsible eye needle. Is she crazy? No, she's just listening to Ali Mori, because Ali Mori's super smart. Okay, see that goes through? Now what I'm going to do, here's the end of my needle. I'm going to grab my pliers. Can you see it? Can you see what's happening? As it goes through, it's pulling, and it's pulling those ends through. Yes! Then I'm just going to get my pliers, and since the legs of my Chinese knotting cord are so small, I have to help it through just a little bit. But that's okay. Let me get my trusty tweezers here. There we go. Bam! Look at that. Ta-da! The tails are secure underneath that macrame, so nothing's going to fall out. If I really felt like, oh my gosh, I wanted a little bit of glue, I could have put a little bit of glue on the Chinese knotting cord and pulled it through, but honestly, no glue needed. It's really fine, okay? So now I just kind of detail that. I pulled this up a little tighter, this up a little tighter to make sure that it's even. And now, you guys, I just use my thread snips, and I'm going to snip this away. Or if you have a thread burner, you can use a thread burner, right? But I'm just going to clip it. I'm going to pull and clip under tension so that it'll back up a little bit, those ends, and it'll live underneath my macrame. Done and done. Thank you to Bead Table member Ali Mori. This was Ali's little trick, and I have never looked back. Okay, so you can see what I've got here. This section, and let's get our sample so we can look at it. Okay. Right, I gave it a haircut. That is right, Gita, in Janice's words. So now I am ready to jump in. Now, if you don't like the way that these 3 beads kind of look coming out from, or not 3 beads, 3 strands of leather coming out from underneath the macrame, I could start with a big hold bead. And so, you know, what I had over here was these strands that were, this was kind of looped together, but I'm going to cut that loop. So I could start with, I don't know, will 3 beads fit through there? I don't know if it will, but you could. I could start with a big bead like that, but I'm just going to start the way that this one is, okay? So let me clear my space a little bit because now we're going to get to the fun part of beading. So Brandon, let's open up this shot a little bit. And I'm going to grab some beads. We've got our, now this is really the way I do this, you guys. This is how I do it. I do it when I'm designing here at my desk, when I'm designing my studio, when I don't know, whenever I'm working, right? And I know that for some of you are going to be like, oh my God, Kate, you don't really do this. But the answer is yes, I do. See how I put everything in a pile? Is that really freaking some of you out? I'm sorry. But that's how I do it. I make my little bead soup. So I have all of my little beads ready to go. So I can kind of see how they look nicely together. And if I can trust that the palette, the color palette that I put down here on my bead board, if I trust that that's nice, then I know that my finished piece is going to be nice, right? Again, don't sweat it, you guys. Don't sweat it. So I'm going to choose a length. Doesn't matter, because what you can do as this piece starts to evolve, you will naturally have a long piece, a middle piece, and a short piece. And it's the long piece that's going to come and make this connection on the other side. But it doesn't have to be the same piece of leather. Okay? So don't worry about, that this is your long one, this is your middle one, and this is your short one. This could be the long one, this could be the long one. Doesn't make any difference. Okay? So I'm going to start. Oh, thanks, Meredith. Yes, Meredith is so, from Beadalon, she's so super talented. If you look back in our, some of our broadcasts from Tucson, we have a fun broadcast right from the Beadalon booth with our Meredith. So I love it that you're with us today. So I'm going to start by just tying a knot, okay? And how far am I going to start tying the knot? I don't know. You tell me. About this far. Is that about 1.5 inches? Sure. Looks good to me, right? I'm going to come in. Now the knot that I tie, I'm going to make a loop. I'm going to pull my leather through once, and I'm going to pull my leather through twice. Okay? I do that, let me move my pile. I do that so that when I tighten up my knot, see how my knot wants to go into like a little figure 8 right here? I push those ends of the figure 8 together. And see how that gives me a nice fat knot, but it also makes it so that my cord is running straight through that knot. If I had tied a knot, and I'm going to do it on this end, if I had just tied an overhand knot like this, with just a single, see how that V's, it gives me a V, and it's kind of awkward, right? But if I tie it double, have it go through double, go through once, go through twice, and see how when I pull it, it naturally goes into that figure 8. Tighten, 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 tighten. See? It goes right straight through. Okay? If I need to untie it, like I do, because I've just knotted this at the end of my leather, I just kind of push it open, and untie it. Okay? So I've got my first little knot. What shall we put on? I don't know. Let's get our bead soup back in here. And I'm going to grab, I don't know, one of these little lamp works, maybe a coil spacer, a couple more of these, and I'll make my first one maybe kind of simple. Okay, slide all these up. Whoops, this bracelet wants to keep catching, so I'm going to take it off. There we go. So now it's time to make a knot on the other side. Okay, so I'm going to make a loop. And see how I've made a loop? It's kind of close to my beads. I'm not going to sweat it though, because if there's a little bit of space in there, no big deal. Go through twice. And just kind of come in, walk that knot into place, push it into place. You tell that knot that you're the boss and tighten it down. Okay? There's a little bit of room here. That's perfectly fine. Okay? Now I'm going to do another one. Maybe, I don't know, this length, whatever, a little more, a little less, whatever works. Once and twice, and scoot that down wherever it happens to lay, doesn't matter, right? Now choose a bead, any bead. Maybe it's a, I don't know, is it time to put on a orange one? Let's just put on one orange that's just plain, a sand cast, right? Once, twice, and just walk it down. Pull that leather through, push that little figure 8 of the knot together, push it up against. I'll do one more on this strand, then we'll move to the next strand. Through once, through twice, tighten it down. You don't want our knot to collapse on itself, so if it does, you kind of have to move that little knot so it's lined up correctly, but there it goes. And the knot, you can see on one side it's like a little X, and on the other side it's like a little two little lines next to each other. Okay. Then, I don't know, what do you guys think? Maybe one of these, one of these. Let's add some dimension. Let's add an Ashanti spacer. Like that, that's how we do. Like that, and this. Okay? Now the Ashanti spacer has a pretty big hole. I put the little small spacer on this side, but I won't put one on the other side. I don't know. Okay? That looks kind of cool. Let's make a knot. Okay? Then we just push it up. If there's a little room, who cares? Doesn't matter. Right? Tighten it up. So now, see what we've got? I've got some strands, some beads on this strand. Okay? So now I'm going to come in, and you can see maybe I'm spacing them a little bit more than I did on the sample, but it doesn't matter. The next strand, I can come in and space them closer. So let's do that on this strand that's coming up. Okay? So we go a little closer to the end. Tie that knot once, tie that knot twice, and let's have it go a little further up. Okay, like so. Then, I don't know, put on what you like. I'm going to use this hammered barrel bead. This is, I don't know, I love this bead with a burning passion. Look how great this is. Isn't it great? Vicki, can I do a 3 or 4 wrap knot to make that section longer? I could. I can show you what that looks like. I usually do it double because it's easy for me to move it into place that way. But I have done them with like three passes through. Look at how great that bead looks with that distressed leather. So let's go a little closer again. Once, twice. Walk it up here wherever you want it to be. I don't know, wherever it lands, it lands. It's okay. This is the ultimate in no stress beading, right? I want to do, maybe I just want to do one of these currents. I don't know. I said no stress beading, and now I'm freaking out about what bead I'm putting on here. I should just relax. There we go. And not worry about it, right? Once, twice. This leather is the 1.5 millimeter leather. And again, all of you, for those of you guys who jumped on after the beginning, you can totally watch this replay again on our Facebook page, on our Bead Shop YouTube channel, and on our beadshop.com website. On the beadshop.com website, if you go to our projects, this one's called the Storm Series, you can find this, all of the 3 different colorways that I'm using right there. This one is called Tropic Rain. And Tropic Rain is a good one, is this green one here. So, but we have 3 different colorways. We've got a blue colorway, which is called Thunder, a purple one, which is called Whirlwind, and the Tropic Rain is our green. So can you see how we're just kind of coming in and see how things are just kind of naturally hanging out with each other? So I sometimes work all 3 strands at the same time. So see how this guy over here, now I can see, well, it looks like I need a knot right there, so I'm going to start this. And again, you could not really pay much attention to what you're doing. You could watch a movie or I don't know if you're binge watching, you're Netflix and Beading, right? Binge watching something. This is a perfect project for watching something and making at the same time, because honestly, it does not matter where these guys line up. So there's my knot right there, and let me put another I don't know, something there. Let me do maybe I'll do an orange one up there. Why not? Like that. And once and twice. Okay. And it tightens down. So you can see how things are just building. So I look at this, I look at these 3, and I go, oh, I want something about there. So I'm going to put something there, right? I love how Janice is saying all the places that you could bead. You could take it to a barbecue. You could go poolside. It's so true, Janice. You can take it anywhere because you don't need many tools at all. I love, love, love the way that these little spacers look. And I love how they looked kind of mixed with these coil spacers. And sometimes I like just doing a little cool little section like this so that it's bookended. Look at how nice that looks. Look really fun. And then we'll just tie the knot once and twice. Okay, slide it in. There we go. So things are shaping up, right? We don't have to. This could also work, you guys, if you were doing this as a wrap bracelet. I could just do everything the same size, wrap it a couple of times, and then do the closure on the other end. So this design would work that way as well. Whatever works for you. Have I used all of our little pieces? Let me see. Let me put in one more over here. It's kind of like when Janice explained, if you remember the Facebook Live episode called The Zen of Stringing, right? Janice kind of did this kind of, I don't know, Zen type of stringing, but with smaller beads, right? You're just working along until you want to switch your course. Then switch your course to another strand or another lane, which we like to see, and then you just switch back to the other lane, whatever works for you. Pilar, thank you. I'm glad you like this piece. Thanks for watching. Let's pull this back up, and there we've got it. Okay, so you can see it shapes up pretty quickly. So you can see here I've got a metal bead, I've got a metal bead here, so maybe it's time for metal bead, one of those little flags. Oh, gracias mucho, Pilar. Thank you. I'm glad you like it. My Spanish is terrible, but I do my best. I bring that in, and I'm going to slide this on, and we'll tie this one back. Okay. Yeah, Janice, the comments sometimes come in and out as you jump back and in and out of the post. So who knows? Sometimes we can see those comments, but hopefully they'll have it fixed by next week. You never know what's going to happen. Let's see, we're coming down. I have time to knot a few more pieces. So what we're doing here, you guys, is this multiple strand. I know some of you have just jumped on. We have a multiple strand necklace made of 1.5 millimeter leather and a mix of metal beads and our tribal beads from beadshop.com. And then, and we're just going along kind of like the zen of stringing. So thank you guys so much for joining in. You can always watch our replays. You can watch it in a bunch of different ways, you guys. You regular watchers know this, but you can jump in on our YouTube channel. And a lot of you, I hear from you guys when you're watching us on YouTube, you make the YouTube photos, or you watch it on your TV, on the YouTube app on your TV, and it blows everything up really big, so you're able to really see the detail, which is kind of awesome. So you can do it that way. And if you subscribe to our YouTube channel, you will get notifications when this is posted. Karen gets it posted right after the broadcast, so you can find those that YouTube right up there. So it's a great way. I know a lot of you watch us on YouTube, and it's a great way to watch the episode. So here we go. And this is on here, and I'm going to bring this through. It looks like you guys have a couple of questions about the jewelry I'm also wearing on my wrist. I'll talk about that at the end of the broadcast. We have the tutorials for that. So can you guys see, this is coming along, right? I'm gonna see if the next few minutes I can get this a little bit closer, and then I'll be able to close it off. I'm just knotting as fast as I can in real time, right? This isn't like the cooking show. I don't have one ready to bust out for you guys. I'm sorry. Someday, maybe. Does someone want to come and be our production assistant, right? Get me coffee, finish my projects. Or maybe we just need Emily back. Emily keeps me on the straight and narrow, too. But Emily will be back next week. She'll be back, and she has a fantastic project. It's a beaded fringe bracelet. You guys are just gonna love it. Love it. It's really great. So you can see it's coming along. Let's see where I am measurement wise. Great, we're close. This one is going to end up being a little bit shorter than the other one because we're doing this in real time. But let me see if I can get it to about 20 inches, which I think I can. So let's really redouble our efforts going quickly. And you know, I see a lot of your comments about how you love how I'm designing and stuff. And thank you so much for those comments. But necessity is the mother of invention, you guys, right? I don't have time to dilly-dally over what bead I might be using or how it's going to look or whatever, right? You just have to go for it and jump in. So sometimes when you're working at home, maybe you want to try that. Pretend that you're on Facebook Live and 200 people are watching you create a piece, right? You've got to go with the courage of your convictions. So just go for it, you know? Who cares, right? It's only beads, you guys, you know? If you don't love it, you can give it to someone who does, or you can cut it up. Like if I cut this up, all I lose is my leather. No big deal, right? I could start again. Doesn't matter. So, you know, don't sweat the small stuff. We'll sweat the bigger stuff. But beading, don't sweat it. You create, you've got an artistic vision. I know you do. Okay, Let's do another one of those little intentional repeats with these Ashanti. I love when I'm designing using an intentional repeat because I think it adds just a little something something to the design, right? Yeah, look at that. I really dig it. I cannot believe that we have not had these little spacers for so long. And I know, Janice, you're nodding your head in unison with me on your side. We just use these for so many things. So many. So I can also see visually, not only am I trying to work quickly, but I'm also trying to keep an eye on what I'm making here, or the design that I'm making, so that I know, see how I've kind of poked in that orange ever so often? It's time for another orange. I've got one here, I've got one here, I've got one here. Now it's time for an orange. So I just try and keep my eye on what's shaken with this design. And again, you know, I'll be honest, I do make it look easy because, you know, right now I'm at work. This is what I do, you guys. This is what Janice and I do. We're lucky enough to be able to do this. But again, don't sweat it. Just get some beads out and string. I want to move that knot just a little bit there. There we go. So don't be worried about the fact that I make this look easy. It is easy. Don't you worry. Okay. Tighten it up. And there we go. And so can you see how visually that bead just kind of falls right in there? And I think it's this orange bead that's kind of like a little beacon, you know, that says to me, oh, it's time. It's time to put one of those. You know, it helps to ground. I think it helps to ground the design. Put a couple more on, and then I'm going to measure, and then we'll see. We'll see what we see. What do you guys think? Yes, good so far. And I really give you a lot of beads to work with. The sample that I have pictured, it's a little more bead heavy. The beads are knotted a little closer together. They're a little more dense, I guess. So it just depends on what you like, okay? But for interest of time here with what we're watching, what you're watching me not, if I really want to get this done, I've got to have a little more space in there. Let's see, which one? Which one?
You're heading towards the edge of the camera.
Oh, am I? Okay, there we go. Is that better?
Yeah.
I'm so excited that I'm flipping this stuff all over the place, right, Brandywin?
You're just moving along.
Moving along, right? If we're going to do it, we're going to do it. Okay, so this looks good. So let's see what I've got lengthwise here, okay? Yes, Janice is mentioning if you have a limited amount of beads that she calls beacon beads, or kind of the spotlight beads, you just count them and space them out in your mind before you begin. And that's really true, Janice. It's a great way to look at it, for sure. I'm going to say that this looks, I'm going to add one more. If I'm measuring, let me show you what I'm doing, okay? I'm measuring from like here, so I'm measuring my strands. And if I go all the way across, I'm at about, I don't know, about 14 inches across here, okay? My length is going to give me, or my ends are going to give me a lot of length here. So I want to start now to stagger this a little bit. So this one, and this one. So let me put maybe two, I don't know, let's see, one, two more here, and maybe this one is a, I don't know, some small beads maybe? I don't have this one too close. Here, do I have another one of the, I don't, so I'll just end it with a green. A little bit of kick. Here and here. Yeah, I have, there's a Facebook Live episode. Sherry was mentioning about how I've done a bunch of leather knots and stuff on a different Facebook Live episode. I think it was Tricks to Leather is what it is. Okay, I think it was sometime last year. If you go to the Facebook Live page on beadshop.com, scroll down a bit and you'll see that was an epic one. I think it was Tricks to Leather. And I do all kinds of stuff with leather, and I think it includes this, a bunch of knots. So here's this. So there's my last one on that strand. And I'll tighten this down. And I'll put maybe one more right here because it's going to fall in between the two. So let me do this. Okay. And maybe I'll put a, I don't know, a currant. I'll put a green currant on here, right? Because why not? Close that one off. And then let's do this last one. So I'm kind of mocking it up here now, right? So here's this one. This one will end about right here. And then I think I need one more that's going to go maybe here. Okay. And then as I put this piece through the evolve on the other side, that's when I kind of play around with my lengths. Why is it that it's the last bead that you put on is the hardest one to choose, at least for me? I don't want to put that one on. I'll put a flag. How about a flag? But I'll add some spacers around the flag. How's that? There we go. Okay. Once and down. All right, so now to close it, we close it just like we opened it, you guys, or just like we started it. So I'm going to get my evolve, and see, I've got plenty of leather. I could go on for a long time, but we do have to eventually bring this broadcast to a close. So I'm just going to put my evolve on. And I'm just going to kind of hold it here, and I just kind of space out. I don't know if you guys can see that.
Yeah, that's better.
Is that better? I just kind of make one piece kind of the longest, get the second piece in there, and get the third piece in just a little shorter. That third one is not that one, is this one. And I can clamp it. My little clamper here to make sure that everything is sitting nicely, right? So I've got one that's long, one that's in the middle, and one that's short. Okay. And I think what I can do, if I lay this here next to it, I can see that when I start my macrame, it's going to start about right here, which I think is okay. So maybe I'll inch it up just a hair, just a hair. There we go, because it'll give me a little more room to work in. So now I go the opposite way, okay? And what Janice is saying is, yeah, when you're at home, hold it up next to your neck, kind of play with the length, you know, as long as you have one long strand, one middle strand, and one long strand. One long strand, one middle strand, one short strand, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Okay? It'll work for you. Okay? So now I'm just going to start. I'm going to kind of visually mark it with my eye there, and I know I'm going to start right there. So I'm going to tie my cord on, or start my first macrame, and then I'm going to move everything around here. But I just want to get a spot here so I know what I'm doing. So I'm going to come in and I'll just kind of knot this on so it holds everything together. Okay. And then I check, yep, that's gonna look about right. Okay. So I'm gonna move all of these beads. Still, I've got plenty of beads to make this a little bit longer. So you do what works. I'm gonna put this kind of put this up here, and just kind of how we kind of capture our strands when we're doing ladder bracelets. I kind of can bring it around with a little piece of scrap, get everything in there, and then I can safely get it down there, and then I can do the same thing. I'll do that little trick that I did earlier with the baggie and the clamper. Okay, so now I know that, whoops, this has come loose a little bit. That's not going to work. But I think I can kind of see visually that it's about right there. I think, maybe, right? Have I lost my... I think I'm about right there. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to center my threads, and I'm just going to macrame. What did I do? About, it's about a 1/2 inch, I think. I'll measure it. All of my threads, all of my cords are flat, so I want to untwist them here. Sorry, my fingers are in the way there, but I want to untwist them. Come on now. I said, who's the boss of these guys? Me. There we go. If you have a twist in there, you're going to macrame that twist, and it's not going to look so nice. And you know, I've got a little bit of wiggle room because I'm not going to macrame so tightly that I can't move stuff around, right? So I'm just going to get in there, do my little macrame, and then I'll adjust. Because if it's giving me some issues, I'm just going to tell it who's in charge. That's me. Okay. So we're going to do this real quick like. And if a little bit of the leather shows, that's okay. I think it's a nice addition to the design, right? See a little bit of that grain. And again, I'm tying some firm knots. It's nice and firm, but it's not so tight that I can't move stuff around. Oops, that was not a good knot, was it? There we go. It's a little unwieldy with these clamps in the way, but it's not too bad. And if you're doing this at home with fewer sets of eyes on you, it'll be a little bit easier for you, right? Okay. Yeah, we have so many. So Sherry, I'm doing this in a different direction because I don't want to start with the loop. I want to end with the loop. Okay, so you're going to see, just hang with me, and you'll see how this all comes together. Okay, so just bear with me. It'll all be revealed at the end. Okay, so that looks about the right length, I think. Maybe I'll do like one more here, maybe. But I promise everything will be so clear at the end of this. Sometimes it's hard to visualize. Okay, let's get it all nice and tight and flat. So now I'm going to unclamp everything, all right? And let's take a look at what we've got, okay? So here's our beginning, and here's our end. And you can see, get it untwisted here. This is twisted. You can see here how everything is cascading nicely. Now I'm going to bring this evolve down, and I'm just going to go through the opposite way. Instead of sliding the CKC down, I'm sliding it up, right? Like so. And instead of splaying it out like I did this time, you know, when I was doing it at the beginning, I need my Chinese knotting cord to be all the way at one end because it's going to macrame around one piece. Okay, so we're going to do just that. We're going to macrame around it. Now this might be a little difficult to anchor, but I never let that stop me. I'm going to use that little piece of thread. That's Chinese knotting cord that I had. Anchor it down here. And I just want to go around this single thread. So see here, this is going to be cut away later, so I don't need to worry about the baggy. But I need to macrame just around this single cord to make the loop. So let me do it. Let me macrame like my life depended on it. Right? We're going to macrame, macrame, macrame. You get those other two. If those are giving you sass, you're going to cut those away anyway. Clamp them out of the way. There we go. And so what did I say? I think I did about 1 inch, I suppose, of this. That'll work. Make your loops on the ends larger or smaller. That is a place where you can also add or take away length. Like let's say if you wanted to make a necklace that was, you know, I don't know, super long, you could make these loops really decorative and, I don't know, twice as long even if you wanted. You could hang other beads off these loops, you know, whatever. Or if you wanted more beads and less loop, you just adjust the length of your loop to what works for you. And again, a little bit of the leather may show through, but that's okay, right? That doesn't matter. Okay. We're almost home here, which is awesome. Coming down the home stretch of this epic necklace extravaganza. Let me measure this now and see where I'm at. That's about 1 inch. Not too bad, Richburg. Okay, so let's go ahead, unclamp. Take this little guy off. Oh, you know what I didn't do? I didn't do my ends. There's a couple of ways, and I was thinking about this because I actually did the other one a different way. I could pull these ends back through with that little needle trick like I did earlier, right? I could have had this laid down, macrame over the top, and pulled this through. But I think for this, it will be just as easy to slide these pieces of CKC under my Evolve. So let's see if that works. I'm going to take my trusty collapsible eye needle, send them through the Evolve. Okay. Send them through. get my leather. This is a long piece of cord. I'm going to cut some of it away so it's not so difficult to work with. You kind of have to push everything down through the evolve to get that leather through there, but it goes through. What did I do again? What did I do at the beginning that I forgot to do this time too? You got it. Put on that hammered loop. Where is my little hammered loop? It was here somewhere. Oh, right in front of me. If it would have been a hammered loop snake, would have bit me. All right, put that through. There we go. Alrighty, now let's neaten everything up, make it pretty before we clamp that evolve. Okay, pull that one. Try not to, oh come on Richburg, try not to get the hammered loop between the evolve and your CKC. You need to put it on first. Let's just relax, everyone, or me. There we go. That's the joy of a live broadcast, though, right? You get to watch me do all my little flubs. There we go. Tighten that up one more time before I send it through, and now let's send it through again. This is the 1.5 millimeter leather, but you know, you could go thinner, maybe. The 2.0 may not work for this many underneath the evolve, right? So, why is this link giving me trouble? There we go. There it's in. So you could mix it up, but I think you could go thinner, but I think if you go thicker, might not be a good idea. So let's go down, open that space up, and pull it through. Alrighty, now we're back on the straight and narrow. Always something to give you a little bit of an issue, right? So make sure that everything is neat, because once you crimp that evolve down, we are done and done. Okay, so we want to make sure that it's pulled up nice, everything is facing the right way, the leather is lined up, the CKC is lined up, and now with the courage of our convictions, we're going to go ahead and crimp. Let's do it. See how when I crimp that evolve, I start at the fat part of the plier? I give it a little squeeze. Then I turn it, give it a little squeeze the other way. You don't want to try and crimp these evolve like all in one fell swoop, right? You just want to do it. Just gently coax that evolve. You don't want to say, hey, I'm going to smash you. You're going to say, I'm going to just gently let you hug that leather. Okay? And we want to make sure on the side where that CKC is that it's nice and tight, because this crimped evolve is the only thing that's holding that. But I think this is fine. So now let's cut it under tension. Let's slide our cutter in there. Let's cut all three away. On this side, pull this forward. Clip only the leather, nothing else at all, and in tiers. We really make sure that that's nice and clipped nice and closely. Janice is mentioning if you use a leather that's smaller, you could probably use a similar crimp we have called transition. The transitions would work nicely with it. But you could also use more strands probably as well. Instead of a 3-strand, it could be a 5-strand. Okay. So let's take a look. Here's my finished piece, almost finished. I'll talk you through what we've got here to close it. You can see on the closure what I've done is I've connected, we have these little hammered links that are going to go on the ends, and I have our swivel clasp, and all we do is use some jump rings to and 2. This is a 6mm jump ring that I have here. And I thought this little hammered little hammered tag, really was a nice finish on it. If you wanted to lengthen your piece, this is also a place that you could lengthen it, right? I could put several of these little tags along. I could add it to chain. I could wire wrap my extra beads. You could do anything. Doesn't matter, right? Whatever works for you. But I just ended it with a clasp right here. But again, chain, I don't know. You tell me what works for you. Let's close this one up. And the 6mm jump ring gives it a really nice bunch of movement. That's the secret to this closure too, is that it has some movement, that it's not so tight. Okay. And there, oh my gosh, you guys, that was epic. Someone mentioned that it was epic. It was epic. I'm going to move these little dishes together. Lynn, you asked how would you do the long, short, medium lengths with 5 strands of leather. I just go ahead and kind of space them out with 5. 2 could be the same size, you know, or I don't know, whatever would work, but I probably cascade them down a little bit more, so I'd have all 5 be a little bit of a different length, but I think it would look nice all together. Okay, yes, you guys, that was good times. Okay, well, I am going to, we're going to move the camera around. I'll answer a few questions as I do it. Lori asks, do your jump rings ever fail? You know, I use these 18 gauge jump rings, and the 18 gauge is just big enough in this 6mm that the wire gauge is heavy enough so they don't come apart, but thin enough so that they fit through everything. So that 18 gauge is my solution for that. I'm going to hand the camera back to Brandwin. We're going to have a little bit of a move around here. And my mom was mentioning that she loved the orange. And Ma, that orange is actually made me think of you, because one of my mom's favorite colors next to teal is orange. So yes, that was one of my orange things. Okay, so I'm going to close everything up. I'm going to take this necklace off that I'm wearing, and as Brandwin positions the camera, we'll say a fond farewell, but let's see how this fits me, if it even fits me. Let's do a finish length measurement, shall we? For that, let me pull this here, and we're back. We're almost back. There we are, Brandwin. I can see me. This is about, it's about 20 inches, 22 inches, so it's a good length, I think. There we go. So for me, as I put this on, there we go. It's not too bad of a length. Not bad for totally off the cuff. And not knowing my finished length. I think that works for me. But let me put our guy right here on this bust. There we go. I think it looks pretty good. And again, this was so, you'll be a little more judicious when you're measuring, or not, whatever. But you can see it came, I think it came out pretty well. And you could always, I don't know, less is more, more is more. We can layer a little bit, right? So you can make a whole bunch and layer them all. So you have a summer storm of a necklace here, right? Okay, so you guys, I hope you enjoyed it. I certainly enjoyed spending some time with you today. I've got a couple of things before we wrap up. Number one, Friday. Oh, and people wanted to know about my jewelry. Thanks for reminding me, Brandwin. Before we get to that, so this is a piece from our looming series. I'll have Drea link it in the episode notes. Every Monday after the episode, we do kind of a little Cliff Notes wrap up. This is a loomed piece, a 3-wrapper loomed piece that I did, and we have the directions for that. It was on a Free Tip Friday a while back. And then this is just my wrap that I always wear. You guys know it. 2mm distressed gray leather with the regular brass shadows, and it's laddered with the infinity stitch. So, and it wraps around 3 times. So that's it.
Ring?
And my ring. Oh, just a little bauble I made. A little something, something. When I was working in my studio, this is copper metal clay, and just some little silver fabrication. You know I like my torch. Yes. I have for you, of course, before I sign off, I was talking about Free Tip Friday and what's going to happen on Free Tip Friday. Free Tip Friday, I'm going to do another knot for you guys. You guys have been asking how to do, a lot of wrap bracelets have some fancy knots to them called the barrel knot. I'm going to show you how I do the barrel knot. We haven't done it here yet at beadshop.com, but I've been playing around with it. So that's what's going to happen on Friday. Barrel knot for wrap bracelets. It's going to be super fun. That starts at 10:30 a.m. Pacific time right here on our Facebook page. Then we also have, next week, as I said, Emily's going to be back. Hooray, I don't have to fly solo. And she has a great seed bead school project that we're going to be doing. It's a fringe bracelet. I know if I know anything about Emily, it's going to be a fantastic piece, so I can't wait to share that with you. And then the following week, we are going way back to our roots, our bead shop roots, with a class that I used to teach. It was called Wild About Wire. And the Wild About Wire class is where I use discs, semi-precious discs. We're going to introduce a new size of disc. This is the 30mm. Right now we carry the 40mm semi-precious pie discs. We're adding these small ones, and you'll see that the week of the Facebook Live broadcast. And we're going to do some wire work with them. It's going to be really fun. We're going to embellish them with some beads. We're going to add some cord. It's going to be a Kate classic with wire, with our new pair of wire. Okay, it's going to be great. So, so that's what's going. But I thought it would be fun to kind of give you a fun little preview of that. So, of course, as always, since it's Wednesday, I have a couple of fun things for you. For orders made today, it's the 9th of May, 2018, and it's a little after 1 o'clock. It's about a quarter after 1 right now. And if you place your order in the next hour, you put in Tribal 20, we are knocking 20% off all of our metal beads, all of our leather, and all of our tribal. So you can grab samples or supplies for this piece if you want. That's good tonight till midnight. And I thought I'd give everybody a gift today, because why not, right? So if you make your order in this next hour till about 1:15, and in your shipping notes you put, I want pie, I will throw in, and I've handpicked these, I will throw in a fancy Jasper 30mm pie, so you're ready to go. Okay, so all you need to do, it's good for the next hour only, so if you're watching this on replay, I'm sorry you're missing out. But if you're watching it live and you're making an order, throw in right in your shipping notes, I want pie. And they're such beautiful colors. They come in green, they come in pink, they come in light green, the white, kind of a beautiful cream color. This fancy Jasper comes in so many colors. So I will put one in a baggie and put it in your order for you. Okay? So that's the story. That's my story. I'm sticking to it. Thank you again so much for joining me. It was a fun day with this epic necklace that we did today. I am starving. I'm going to go have lunch. I worked hard. I don't know about you guys, but thanks so much for being with me on this journey. I'll see you Friday for that wonderful fancy knot for your wrap bracelets, and we'll see you then. Thanks from behind the camera, Brandon. You were awesome. Janice, Gita, everybody sticking with me, even though the comments weren't working the whole time. I appreciate it. We'll see you guys soon. Thanks so much for joining me. Bye-bye.